conference. I'm going to try to, can you guys hear me? Let me know, please, and thank you. I need to get my coffee, so I need to go get that coffee going right now. Okay, I hear me, so I know it's going. Welcome, everybody. You gonna put that, you want to put the balloon in the thing? Okay, mama. Let me put this on pause. Hold up, y'all. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. I need to get that coffee, guys. I need to get that coffee. So I'm gonna let the stream run. So they're fixing the mics right now as we speak, and that way, Baby Bunny's gonna go with the sitter here in a minute. Welcome, everybody. For those that are coming through, thank you. Let me go get that coffee right now because I definitely need it. Thank you, Mirror Moon. Hey, Sylvia. Hey, Pika. Hey, Dizzy. Hey, everybody coming through. All right. Let me see. Hopefully they get those mics going. Oh, they're starting now. Well, I might have to wait on that coffee. Hold up, y'all. On the Menendez Brothers, for those that are walking in.
My name is Nathan, the district attorney of Podia.
Mike.
District attorney. Press conferences. When we last spoke, I started with three brothers I knew evidence. But weeks ago, in opposing the habeas petition.
Okay, here we go.
Saying that the justification for the new trial, based on two additional pieces of evidence, did not meet the legal standard to warrant a new trial. The second track that the Menendez case is on is the clemency track. This is a petition that the Menendez brothers filed directly with Governor Gavin Newsom. He could have acted on this petition either now, he could have acted on any moment since he has been in power since 2019. He can act on it today if he so chooses. He has unilateral constitutional power to commute the Menendez's sentences if he chooses and release them today. There is no hearing he needs to have. There's no deadline, and he can also do nothing. The third track is resentencing, and we are here today to discuss that third track. Resentencing is a law that was passed by the state legislature in California, a somewhat unique law to California, that basically gives the judge, under certain circumstances, the power to resentence someone who has been previously sentenced. In this example, potentially, the judge could resentence the Menendez brothers from life without the possibility of parole to life with the possibility of parole. Now, resentencing hearings get started in two different ways in this case. One of the ways is that the court has initiated these proceedings itself under Penal Code Section 1172.1A1. The second way it also got started is when the prior district attorney filed a motion under this code section to begin the resentencing proceedings. What the position we are taking today is that we will go forward. We are prepared to go forward with the court's initiated resentencing proceedings and look forward to a resentencing hearing on that motion. However, we are asking the court to withdraw the previous district attorney's motion for resentencing because we believe there are legitimate reasons and the interest of justice justifies that withdrawal. Now, when one deals with resentencing, one of the key hallmarks of resentencing is, do the defendants pose an unreasonable risk of danger to the community? One way to decide if they pose that risk is to understand if they have been rehabilitated. And one way to understand if they've been rehabilitated is, have they accepted and exhibited full insight into the crimes that they have committed and accepted complete responsibility for their criminal actions. Governor Newsom gave us a primer on how this actually works when he dealt with the Sirhan Sirhan parole recommendation that had been made to him back in 2021. At that point, Sirhan Sirhan, who was the assassin of Senator Robert F. Kennedy in the Ambassador Hotel back in 1968, had been up for parole hearings 16 times. For the first 15 times, the parole board denied parole. But on this 16th time in 2021, the parole board recommended a grant of parole to Governor Newsom. So he looked at the case and he actually issued a written decision. And in that decision, he analyzed the factors that were both in favor of parole, and there's an analogy to resentencing, and the ones that weren't. The ones that were in favor for parole was that at the time of that parole hearing recommendation, Sirhan Sirhan was 77 years old. He had been in prison for 54 years. He was suffering from a diminished physical capacity. In his childhood background, he had lived through a war-torn area. He was 24 at the time that he committed those crimes. And while in prison for those 54 years, he had engaged in comprehensive involvement in rehabilitative and self-improvement programs. He earned his Associate of Arts degrees and other certificates. He engaged his classification score, which is an analysis by the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation, is that what type of risk level you're at was at the lowest. It was a 19. In fact, the California Static Risk Assessment said it was that lowest level.
Okay, can we get to the
His
point?
violation reports, that's the number of reports that he had experienced since he had been in prison since 1968 was 2. And the last one was in 1972. He had letters of support from prison officials, and he had letters of support from 3 of the 9 living Kennedy family members. Yet the governor looked at all those positive factors, recommending parole for Sirhan Sirhan. Now it's in 2021, 2022. But he said that one factor overcame all those other factors. And that one factor is that Sirhan Sirhan had not demonstrated full insight into his crimes. He had not completely accepted responsibility for his actions based on his multiple stories of what had occurred that night in 1968. So notwithstanding the fact that he did not, he had all these positive aspects, and he had the parole board recommending a grant of parole, in January 12, 2022, the governor wrote that Sirhan Sirhan poses an unreasonable risk of danger to the community and denied that parole. The reason this can be an instructive case is that there are almost no cases right now on Penal Code Section 1172.1, the resentencing statute. But the focus of it is the same focus as we have in the parole context. Is there an unreasonable risk of danger to the community by these particular people? In Sirhan Sirhan, he was a murderer of Senator Robert F. Kennedy, and he shot 5 additional people that night. And here we have the Menendez brothers, who are murderers of their parents the night of August 20th, 1989. While Sirhan Sirhan is 77 at the time that Governor Newsom made his decision, right now the Menendezes are either 57-year-old for Lyle Menendez or 54-year-old for Eric Menendez. They've served 35 years in prison. Sirhan Sirhan served 54 years. They don't suffer from the diminished physical capacity that Sirhan Sirhan does. They had also childhood allegations of physical, sexual, and emotional abuse in their childhood, while Sirhan Sirhan had never been arrested or charged or convicted of any crimes before his offense. Eric Menendez had been arrested for multiple residential burglaries and received diversion. And Lyle Menendez had also been arrested for multiple residential burglaries.
Wow.
When it comes to rehabilitative programs, yes, both Sirhan Sirhan engaged over the 54 years in significant programs, as have the Menendezes. when it comes to education that they earned. Sirhan Sirhan earned an Associate of Arts degree. Eric Menendez has earned multiple Associate of Art degrees and is currently enrolled in UC Irvine. And Lyle Menendez earned his Bachelor of Arts degree from UC Irvine. As far as classification scores, they're all at the same level, a 19, which is considered the lowest level you can be at in the prison system. With
What?
respect to that California static risk assessment, they're all at the lowest level.
Okay.
Rules violations, you had 2 for Sirhan Sirhan, the last one in 1972. You have 9 for Eric Menendez, the last in 2021, and 8 for Lyle Menendez, the last in 2024. They each have letters of support from prison officials, and the Menendezes have multiple letters from all living victim family members aside from one who recently passed. And they received those letters in support of their being released. With respect to them, the key issue of exhibiting insight, full insight into their crimes, and completely accepting responsibility for their actions. This is where the Menendezes, like Sirhan Sirhan, also fall short. As we lay out in our pleading, which is now 87 pages long, we go through a 60-page statement of facts, which is different, by the way, than the 3 pages that the prior motion had laid out as far as the crimes that are involved. And as we show, the essence of the defense that the Menendezes have maintained from the first trial into the second trial to the present day is that they acted in self-defense. They had an actual fear of imminent harm, in essence, that their parents were going to kill them the night of August 20th, 1989. As we show extensively, just to make this point, that this case is not, or their defense was not about sexual abuse, because I know that issue has come up many times.
Oh
But
my
about
gosh. I'm
self-defense.
telling you.
I take you to both Eric, Lyles, and their own attorneys' statements. At trial, Eric testified, and he was asked, "Did you kill your father because he sexually molested you?" Answer, no. "Did you kill your parents because you hated them?" Certainly no, was the answer. "Did you kill your parents because you wanted their money?" Answer, no. "Did you kill your parents as an act of mercy?" Answer, no. "Why, Mr. Menendez, did you kill your mother and your father?" "Because we were afraid." "What is it you were afraid of?" "I was afraid of dying." "Who were you afraid was going to kill you?" "My mom and my dad." Lyle Menendez similarly testified as well. It was asked the question on August 20th, 1989, "Did you or your brother kill your mother and father?" "Yes." "Did you kill them for money?" "No." "Did you kill them because you wanted to pay them back for the way they had treated you?" "No." "Why did you kill your parents?" "Because we were afraid."
Oh
That is the
my God.
essence of their defense at trial. It was not sexual abuse. The jury was never asked to render a verdict on sexual abuse. It was all about self-defense. In fact, Eric Menendez's attorney, Leslie Abramson, said, "We have never said that because you're abused, you're justified in killing your abuser. We didn't argue that and never will." So the question then is, have the Menendezes exhibited insight into the fact that their self-defense defense was fabricated?
Okay.
And as we go through the iterations of their defense that they issued from the time that they were arrested until the time that they went to trial, until the present day, what you will see is that the self-defense was the last iteration and version of their defenses. Because remember, the first defense that they came out with was, "We didn't do it. That's not us." If you remember the 911 call, if you remember Eric Menendez screaming and crying when the police came out that night, he says to the police, "We're going to kill them," referring to the people who just murdered his parents. "We're going to kill them. We're going to torture them." Who would have done this thing? The answer is the Menendezes. But their first iteration was it wasn't them. It was either the mafia or the cartel were the dirty business associates of Jose Menendez. They persisted in this lie, not just the night of August 20th, but kept that lie going for months and months and months. And had Eric not confessed to his therapist, Dr. Oziel, months later, and that confession been taped, and that confession's tape been turned over to the police, they would have maintained it wasn't us. They convinced not just the media, not just the police, but their family and their friends that they were 100% innocent of these crimes. Until eventually these tapes came out, they were arrested, and then they changed to the next iterations. Because the next iteration of the story was when Lyle Menendez gets his girlfriend, Jamie Pisarek, to visit him at prison and says, I want you to testify that my father drugged you and violently raped you, establishing that Jose Menendez was a violent rapist. Jamie Pisarek refused to do that. So the next iteration of the story was that Lyle Menendez asked Jamie Pisarek and said to her, well, Eric Menendez was raped by my father, but I was raped by my mother. That's a story that was then repeated to Eric and Lyle Menendez's uncle, Carlos Baralt. That Eric Menendez was molested by the father, but Lyle Menendez was molested by the mother. That iteration didn't go forward. The next iteration that ultimately came out at trial, and just before trial, was that both boys were molested by the father. But as you heard a moment ago, that wasn't a defense to the charges of first-degree murder with special circumstances. Because you had to add one more thing the jury was now going to consider, is not just that they were sexually abused, but they were actually in actual fear of imminent harm, of their lives being taken by their parents the night of August 20th, 1989. So self-defense is the defense that they set forward at the trial. But what we show in our pleading is we go through the timeline to show that the Menendezes have basically engaged in not just the ultimate lie of self-defense, but a whole series of lies around it. And they took actions that were both premeditated and deliberate, not just sort of immediate responses to their parents somehow threatening them the night of August 20th. We point out that days before the murders on August 20th, on August 18th, the Menendezes drove 120 miles to San Diego to purchase shotguns and ammunition and use a fake ID and a fake San Diego address to make sure that the guns and the ammunition would not be connected to them. The day before the killings, August 19th, they go to a firing range and they find out that the birdshot ammunition that they had bought isn't good enough to kill someone. They're told you need buckshot ammunition in order to actually kill someone, and they buy it that day. Hours before these killings, at roughly 10:20 p.m. on the night of August 20th, Lyle Menendez contacts one of his friends, Perry Berman, to set up the alibi. And the alibi was that they were going to go to Batman the movie at the 8 o'clock showing. And they would be at that movie when the killings would have occurred, and then meet Perry Berman at the Taste of LA event afterwards. They set this up before the killings. Now, during these killings, as we've explained before, these weren't just a situation where all of a sudden the parents threatened their lives, they reached for something and shot them dead. No, these killings, the actual shots, were designed to make it look like a mafia gangland hit. They shot Jose Menendez through the back of his head. They shot Kitty Menendez not only once, which then caused her to go down to the ground, bleeding, but when they ran out of ammunition, they went back to the car, reloaded the shotgun. Then Lyle Menendez took the shotgun, put it up to Kitty Menendez's face, and pulled the trigger. Again, to make it look like a gangland shooting, but that was not enough. They then, while they were dead, shot them in the kneecaps to make it to complete the picture of what a gangland shooting would be. And at that point, they also had the presence of mind to pick up all the shotgun shells that were lying in the den, because they were worried their fingerprints might be in them. They then called Perry Berman to establish the alibi and went to the movie theater to buy the tickets, only to find out they couldn't buy the 8 o'clock showing because the next showing had already occurred. And Perry Berman had already moved on to a different event, so they couldn't meet up with him. So they took all those shotgun shells, they took the bloody clothing, they go to a gas station dumpster, and they dump it in the dumpster. But now they got the shotguns, what to do with them? They had the presence of mind to drive up to Mulholland Drive and throw the shotguns off the hill on Mulholland Drive. They then went back to the house. When they get back to the house, that's when they made the 911 call that someone killed our parents. And then when the police arrived, that's when they said, as I said before, when Eric and Lyle are running out screaming and crying, and Eric says, I'm going to kill them, I'm going to torture them. Who would do this? Knowing, of course, that it was him and Lyle who had done that exact crime a little more than about an hour and a half beforehand. So you had a situation then where thereafter they engage in this deception, the mafia hoax, the lies to their friends, their family, the media, and the police. And what's interesting as well is the actions they take immediately afterwards. If these were kids that had just lost their parents, you would think the last thing in their mind would be to check on where the will is. But sure enough, within 48 hours, they go ahead and obtain the computer that they believed a new will had been written on, disinheriting them, bring in a computer expert to delete and then double delete all the files dealing with Eric, Lyle, or Will that are on the computer. Go ahead and remove the safe from the family home into a neighbor's home to look at the safe only to determine there was no will in that. And then even go to the bank safe deposit box to go ahead and see if Jose Menendez had put the new will there, disinheriting his sons as he told them he was going to do. So the story again keeps going on, and today Eric and Lyle Menendez, at least from the beginning, fully expected for them never to go to prison because they had successfully convinced everyone that they didn't do it until they spoke to Dr. Oziel. And Eric, feeling the pangs of guilt, feeling even suicidal, talked to Dr. Oziel and basically told Dr. Oziel that they had done it. When asked about why they killed their father, they didn't mention self-defense. Why they killed their mother that night, they didn't mention self-defense. What they said about the father, what Eric said, is that he was a controlling, dominating force, and that is the reason that he was killed. When he was asked about the mother, he said the mother would be a witness to the crime, so she had to die. That the mother was so miserable because the father had had an affair that we needed to put her out of her misery. That the mother could not live without the father, and if we were going to kill the father, we had to kill the mother. What doesn't happen in any of the taped conversations with Dr. Oziel, and remember, he is being brought on by the attorneys to eventually go ahead and prepare a defense to the murder charge. So what they never tell Dr. Oziel in all the taped confessions is that they were in any fear of their life that their parents were going to kill them that night or any night, and that they experienced sexual abuse by the father. So the story then goes on because once they get into jail, additional lies come up. I've spoken before about the lies that Lyle tried to tell with Jamie Pizarnik about her being violently raped by Jose Menendez. They also enlist another of Lyle's girlfriends, Tracy Baker, where Lyle literally writes her a script, a letter that is found later, that lays out a story of the mother trying to poison the Menendez brothers and the entire family. Tracy Baker actually testifies to this false story in the first trial, though not in the second. And not only that, but Eric and Lyle Menendez each testify to this fake mom's going to poison us story. What we also find out is that Lyle enlists one of Eric's friends, a guy named Brian Eslamania, to go ahead and corroborate the self-defense story. How is he going to do it? Because the letter that Lyle writes to Brian Eslamania, which is actually found by the police, has detailed instructions down to the actual word that Brian's supposed to say that the day before these killings, the Menendez brothers came to him to get his handgun in order to establish that they had this fear of their parents, even in 24 hours before, and tried to get a handgun. That is actually disproven. And when it's disproven, again, Brian Eslamina says, look, I didn't have that conversation with the Menendez brothers, and I didn't even have a handgun to give them, even if they said that I did. So you have these situations. The Brian Eslamania attempted suborning perjury. The Jamie Pizarczyk attempted suborning of perjury, and the Tracy Baker actual suborning of perjury that the Menendez brothers engaged in to establish this self-defense. But it failed. And the reason we know it failed is that a jury heard all this evidence. And the jury, the second jury, the first jury hung. But the second jury that heard all this evidence rejected the self-defense and found them guilty of first-degree murder for both parents with special circumstances. And what's also important to note is that this conviction has been run by 5 different courts over the last 30 years. It went to the California Court of Appeals. It went to the California Supreme Court twice. It then went to the U.S. District Court. It then went to the U.S. Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. The Menendez has brought up every single argument that they bring up now about the faulty jury instructions, the exclusion of certain sexual abuse evidence at the trial, about certain other court rulings, and it's been rejected and rejected and rejected over and over and over again.
Okay.
So,
oh man.
In looking at then
Finally,
whether or not the Menendezes have exhibited the full insight and complete responsibility for their crimes, they have not. Because, and we outline this in 20 different lies that they have told, which is an attachment to our submission. They have told 20 different lies. They've actually admitted to 4 of them, but 16 lies remain unacknowledged. They persist in these lies to this very day. So like with Sirhan Sirhan not being able to exhibit full insight into his actions, so too the Menendez brothers failed to exhibit full insight into their actions. Let me give you 4 examples where they've actually admitted to the lie.
No, just tell us what you want.
Eric and Lyle lied on the 911 call about just discovering their parents' bodies. Again, when they were found out and the tapes came in, they admitted to that lie, and I mean the lie of the 911 call. The second lie that they've admitted to is that they lied to the police, family, and friends and the media about their involvement in the murders. Again, when their confession came out on tape, they had to admit to that in the first and the second trial. They admitted that they lied to the police, family, and friends, suggesting the mafia was involved in the murders. And Eric admitted that he lied when he told his expert psychiatrist, Dr. Vickery, that his parents would kill him because his father's homosexual lover warned him that he was in danger 2 days before the murders.
Oh, man.
This is something that Eric Menendez told Dr. Vickery, and then months and months later finally recanted and told Dr. Vickery that that was a lie. But there are 16 lies that remain to this day that have been affirmed as recently as last year, where they affirmed the self-defense and they've never admitted to the suborning of perjury of others or the attempted suborning perjury. These lies include when Eric and Lyle claimed that their parents were going to kill them, that they had to act in self-defense by murdering them first. That the Brian Eslamina letter, that they basically tried to suborn perjury from Brian Eslamina, telling him to testify that he borrowed one of his handguns the night before the murder. Another lie that they told to support their self-defense story is that on that Friday, when they go down to San Diego, they said they actually didn't start in San Diego. They said they started at the Big Five sporting goods store in Santa Monica to try and buy handguns. And unfortunately, there was a 14-day waiting period, they said, so they couldn't buy the handguns at that Big Five sporting goods store in Santa Monica. They both testified to this. Turns out, as the evidence came in at trial, the Big Five sporting goods store in Santa Monica hadn't sold handguns for 3 years at that point. So it was impossible for them to have actually gone and tried to purchase a handgun instead of a shotgun that particular day. They've never admitted that they provided that fake ID and fictitious address to buy those shotguns in San Diego in order to conceal their connections to the shotguns and the ammunition. They just said that they used a fake ID because they had driven all the way down to San Diego and forgot their California driver's licenses. They testified that the day before the murders, they had stayed away from the home all day that Saturday, even though a witness came forward, who was the pool repairman, who said they were playing tennis that day at the house and disrespecting the parents who were in front of them. Again, another lie which they have never acknowledged. They lied when they said they didn't plan that alibi before the murders. They lied when they said they did not ask Perry Berman to come back to their house in order to be a witness on the discovery of the mutilated bodies. They lied when they said that they did not stage the murders to look like a mafia gangland hit.
They lied.
They lied when Lyle said they tried to suborn that perjury from Jamie Pisarcik about his father drugging and violently raping
Oh,
him.
man.
They've never admitted that they lied when they testified that their mother was so dangerous and unpredictable that she tried to poison the whole family. And they've never admitted the suborning of perjury from Tracy Baker, when they actually got one of Lyle's girlfriends to testify to the fake mother's poisoning the family story at trial. They further lied when they testified that they thought their parents were going to kill them during their Saturday afternoon fishing trip. They lied when they testified that when they burst into the den with their shotguns, that it was too dark to see and their parents were standing up or moving towards them. Expert testimony showed that at all times, the parents were seated on the couch when they were shot, or mom was on the ground bleeding to death when Lyle came back and shot her in the face. They lied when they said that they testified that the reason they rushed in on their parents was because of self-defense, and they thought that their parents were going to shoot them first that evening. And they lied when they testified that Dr. Oziel blackmailed them into confessing on tape to murdering their parents.
All right, here we go.
We lay out this series of 16 of the 20 lies that they have never acknowledged, never showed insight into, never completely accepted responsibility for. By the way, what I just described to you was mentioned in a paragraph in the original motion that was filed by the district attorney's office.
Oh,
There was
man.
no discussion of exhibiting insight into one's actions or completely accepting responsibility for it in the original motion. So we are basically, in some ways, offering a path to the Menendez brothers. And here's what the pathway looks like. If the Menendez brothers at some point, unequivocally, sincerely, and fully accept complete responsibility for all their criminal actions, acknowledge that the self-defense defense was phony, and their parents weren't going to kill them the night of August 20th when they murdered them in cold blood. Acknowledge that they suborned or attempted to suborn perjury in all the various ways I have outlaid. If they go ahead and finally come clean with the court, with the public, with the DA's office, with their own family members, and acknowledge all these lies, and then can be said to have fully and completely accepted responsibility for their actions. In the future, the court can weigh these new insights into making a determination as to whether they now qualify for rehabilitation and resentencing. And the people will do the same. The district attorney's office, if it is presented with these new insights, unequivocal, sincere acknowledgments of all the lies they have told for the past over 30 years, we too, in the district attorney's office, will reconsider whether or not we would want to go forward with a resentencing motion. But for now, while the Menendez brothers persist in telling these lies for the last over 30 years about their self-defense defense,
Oh man.
and persist in insisting that they did not suborn any perjury or attempt to suborn perjury, then they do not meet the standards for resentencing. They do not meet the standards for rehabilitation. They have not exhibited the full insights and accepted complete responsibility for their actions. And as a result, just like in the Sirhan Sirhan case, they pose an unreasonable risk of danger to the community, and the resentencing should not, therefore, be granted. I'm going to stop now. I'll take any questions that anyone has. After I'm done with these questions, Maria Ramirez will address the Spanish-speaking media and provide information at that point.
The hearings on March 20th and 21st, there's word that they have been postponed. Is that the case?
So those hearings, whether they occur on March 20th or 21st or at some point later, first it's up to the court on what the court ultimately wants to do. The court is receiving our response today. We anticipate the court may keep the March 20th and 21st dates to deal with our response.
Okay.
Both again, part of our response is to go forward with the court's initiated motion for resentencing, and part of our response is a request to withdraw the DA's motion in this regard. The court might have the hearing then on that issue, and then if in fact it decides to go forward with the full resentencing, set a hearing in the future. I know that the governor has now ordered the parole board to do the risk assessment. That risk assessment can take up to 90 days.
Okay.
We don't know when it will actually be completed. The court may or may not want to have that risk assessment done before it has the final resentencing hearing.
We need to get to the. Let's ask questions.
So obviously you've laid
Get
out
to the
this case.
point.
This reply motion will be in the file no matter what, but you cannot pull back Gascon's motion. You're asking the court to pull that away. If they decline in this hearing, the court will then have to weigh both motions equally. How does this play out in that?
Effectively, yes. So what will happen is, again, you have in some ways double motions going forward. And in looking at the different motions, we have now analyzed the original motion filed by the district attorney's office and saw that in no way, shape, or form did they deal with what we believe to be one of the key issues, is exhibition of full insight and complete responsibility for one's crimes. So we are pulling back or asking the court to withdraw that motion, while we're also indicating to the court that we're prepared to go forward on the court's own motion for resentencing.
Considering all the facts that you brought up, do you think there's any chance the Menendez brothers are going to get out of jail in the next few years?
Again, we have laid out a pathway for the Menendez brothers to potentially get out of jail. It requires them to finally, after 30 plus years, fully acknowledge and completely accept responsibility for the entire breadth of the crimes and all the lies that they have told, including their defense at trial of self-defense. If they go ahead and do that, and they do it unequivocally, and they do it sincerely, ultimately the judge is the final arbiter of the sincerity and whether or not this is just being done to please someone, or whether or not the Menendezes have fully come to grip with the lies that they have told. Again, they had no problem at trial coming to grips with the fact that they had lied for over 6 months to the police, the media, their family, and their friends about the fact that they never did it, were not involved at all, and it was the mafia that had actually done the hit on their parents. So they have a history of acknowledging some lies. I'm hoping that they continue with this evolution of themselves, their improvement of themselves, to finally come to grips with the acknowledgement of the totality of their crimes and their lies. And at that point, the court may very well entertain the idea that they have met all the criteria to not only be rehabilitated, not only no longer pose a danger to society, but to be resentenced.
But you don't think they're getting out of jail until they do that?
Our position is that they shouldn't get out of jail. Now, ultimately, that is a position. We bring that position to the court. The court can agree with it, the court can disagree with it, or modify it in some respect. I'm sure that the Menendez's lawyers will be arguing that the court should go forward now with the resentencing. I've spoken to the Menendez family members. And by the way, I spoke to the Menendez family members who support the Menendez brothers before I spoke to Milton Anderson, who recently passed. I spoke to him after I spoke to the Menendez family members, and they certainly would like him out, or them out, tomorrow. And they'll be encouraging the judge to do the resentencing now. But as we have looked through the facts and the law, and that's what's governing our opinion. It's not emotion, it's the facts and the law. They have failed to meet these requirements to show that they are no longer an unreasonable risk of danger to the community. And that is why our position is that resentencing, if it occurs, they shouldn't actually be resentenced.
Have you notified the family, or have you called the family by any chance and notify them of your decision today?
We have not actually spoken directly to the family today. We filed this at the earliest possible time we could at 8:30. We're having this press conference at 10. But when I spoke to the family before, it was an over 3-hour meeting with the family members, the over 20 family members that support the Menendezes being released. And we talked about their rehabilitation in prison. We talked about their beliefs of what happened at the time of the crime. We had a very wide-ranging conversation, and I sat there and I listened to it all. But it does not eliminate the fact that in order to show a full and complete acceptance of responsibility and show full insights into one's criminal actions, that as we have laid out in detail, the self-defense defense was a fabrication. They need to admit to that. They need to admit that they suborned or attempted to suborn all the perjury. And at that point, we might be in a position, if they do it sincerely and unequivocally, to be in a position to then go back to the court and recommend resentencing.
Regarding
Yeah,
that,
on the note of the
Where's
family,
What if they do that in the next couple of weeks before the resentencing hearing? They acknowledge everything, and would you find that to be sincere? Would that change your
Given that
opinion?
you talked about all the lies they've said, how would anything that they would tell you, how would you deem that to be sincere after you've gone through this whole litany
Right.
of lies that
If that's what he's saying.
I will address in the same way that people ultimately were able to believe the Menendezes when they admitted to the first several lies, the first 4 lies. Because remember, at that point, you had a situation where the Menendez brothers said, we didn't do it. The mafia did it. But they took the stand repeatedly at trial and said under oath that no, we lied when we said we didn't do it. We lied when we said the mafia is the one who gunned down our parents. And they were able to, again, express under oath that belief, and they did it over and over and over again. So if the Menendezes go ahead and want to, at any point, whether it's today, whether it's weeks from now, months from now, or years from now, finally and unequivocally express that they and acknowledge the lies that they have told and persisted in for over 30 years, then we will certainly evaluate the quality of that sincerity and decide whether or not it's real or fake, whether or not it's just designed to get out of jail, or whether or not they truly believe and acknowledge the full breadth of the crimes and lies they've told in deciding what to do at that point. And as importantly, the court will have to make that decision. And that decision is the court and the courts alone to make.
Yeah, the family filed a Marcy's Law complaint. I'm sure you've seen this with a wildly different characterization of the meeting than you've offered in the past. They are actually claiming you were hostile towards them.
They filed a complaint against the lawyer.
Case. I don't know if you have any. You obviously offered a different characterization of that meeting. Do you dispute that, the description that they made?
So it was a 3-hour meeting. And remember, the district attorney is not obligated to meet with any of the family members, not even obligated to necessarily Certainly not obligated to meet in person. I could have taken written communications from any of the family members and actually did receive some written communications. But I sat there for over 3 hours. I didn't tell any of the Menendez family members what to say or what I wanted them to say. I said, whatever you want to say to me, please say it. And I sat there and listened to everyone who wanted to speak to me until they were done speaking. So if they've characterized that meeting in whatever way they're going to characterize it, so be it. I understand that the Menendez family members want, the ones that are supporting this, want the Menendezes out today. They could go to the governor. They wanted to actually achieve that. Literally go to the governor Newsom today, and he could commute their sentences and release them today. I, on the other hand, am bound by the facts and the law as it pertains to an analysis of whether or not resentencing is appropriate. And that is what I've done.
Okay.
Now, again, the jury heard this self-defense defense way back when, and the jury rejected it. We're just basically, in many ways, following the jury's verdict from way back then, while the Menendezes have for over 30 years not only rejected the jury's verdict, but persisted in the lie of self-defense and the related lies I've talked about.
Why still go through with this while it's in the governor's hands? Some could say it makes no sense.
Why go through the resentencing? That's
Okay.
actually up to the court. The court can decide to continue a hearing and wait for the governor to weigh in. The court can have.
I can't stop it.
On March 20th and 21st. District attorneys.
They took the stop button out.
What about
yes,
the,
over here.
what about the issue of the age they were when they committed these crimes and how laws have changed with regard to life without the possibility of parole?
Good point. Sirhan Sirhan was 24
I
years
can't.
old. And the
Enough. I'm trying to stop it and it won't let me stop it. He's been going on for 45 minutes. Okay, I'm trying to make it stop. I'm done. So he just laid out what they need to do. Basically admit to lying and showing some remorse. But what I don't understand is, and I've said it before, it's one thing to serve time. It's another thing to take accountability for the things that got you there. So I think maybe that is this argument that he's making. But here's my deal. Here's my question, okay? Are they denying them the opportunity or saying that this, like, the sexual abuse that they have alleged happened at the hands of the parents, that it did or didn't even happen? Like, that's what I want to know. Because a lot of this is coming out is that wasn't considered in their trial. And if it was considered, he just made the argument as to why it wasn't. So, like, what were some of the things there? I'm just so confused by that. But I guess the DA's office want them to take an extra lengthy step to this. Now, by the way, since we're on this here, the cousins called the DA hostile, patronizing, asked for his removal from the case. So the Menendez family is speaking out against this DA as well. Now, on another side note of the Menendez brothers, just as far as news goes, so the uncle, Lyle and Eric Menendez's uncle, who opposed their release from prison, has died. And this was, 3 hours ago. So this has been a pretty huge Menendez day of news between the DA, the death of the uncle who opposed the release, and then also the family speaking out saying that, hey, this attorney, he's very aggressive. Where do you guys land with this? It's a lot of Menendez news today. Let me just say that much. I'm just like, it's just so lengthy. Like, I'm not opposed him making a press conference. That's fine. Because that's what he needs to do, right? But where does everybody stand with this? Where do you stand with this? Do you guys feel like they need to be freed? No. Where does everybody stand? That's what I want to know. Right, ChatGPT summarizes. Yeah, but anyways, let's get started with the other 3 parts of this live that we got to talk about. We got to get right into it because literally that took 45 minutes and I'm going to have to add an extra 10 of this live, or 10 or 15, depending if I can. Let me shout out Janet Burns. Thank you for being a member for 3 months. The Duck, thank you so much for supporting my channel. You said, hi, Rabbit, nice long walk with Streets yesterday. Now, shout out to Streets. I was in his chat yesterday. That was a lot of fun. We'll definitely be talking about, I was watching a little bit of Growing Up in Scientology, so that's interesting footage. Maybe we'll talk about it later. Is Tinkletit still in the chat? Let me know. You said keep them in jail. That's where they belong. Kindly, everybody feels a little bit different about this whole case. Some people feel like they need to be freed. Some people feel like they need to be released. I mean, where does everybody stand? Y'all are entitled to your opinion. I'm not here to change it. I'm just here to report the news as it pertains to this. Did you hear about the teen that unalived his mother, claiming that he was inspired by the Menendez brothers? I heard about this, I didn't read into it, but I heard that there was like a case that they were inspired by the Netflix documentary or something. You said, I think each case should be evaluated on a case-by-case basis. It could go either way. Absolutely. Absolutely. But let me see. Let's get right into the other topics because we definitely got much to review. Now, you guys know yesterday we were talking about this whole case right here. And this is on the young, her name is it Sudiksha Konanki's disappearance from the DR. She was like on spring break with a couple of friends. She is a University of Pittsburgh student. Okay, very young girl who basically was last seen walking in the ocean, like near the beach area at about 4:50 a.m. And she had traveled with a group of 6 other people, right? That they were taking this like spring break vacation. She goes missing. And so they have been looking for her and searching for her. Now, let me say this. There has been a lot of speculation because somebody, take it for what it's worth, because again, if you don't, I take Reddit as like, if there's no receipts, sometimes Reddit will provide receipts depending on who the blogger is and stuff like that. But apparently, there's an article, and I don't know what language this is. So let me see if I can get to it. I was able to save it. Somebody shared it on Reddit where they saw somebody kidnap her. So this girl who disappeared, they're saying she actually might have been kidnapped. Here it is. Refreshing this. Now, does it translate for me? Hopefully it'll translate. Okay. Sudiksha Konanki was last seen early Thursday morning on the beach at the Rui Republic Hotel, where, according to witnesses, she was swept away by waves. Joshua Stephen Ribe, quien estaba con ella, who was with her the moments of the incident, basically said that she was actually with other people, and this is in Spanish. I'm trying to translate it in English for everybody. She was actually with other people, and she might have been kidnapped. So there are witnesses that are saying that this girl actually, oh my God, okay, might have been. Why is it doing this? Don't do this. Hold up, this mouse is acting up. Ay, Dios mío. Can I get to my screen? Hold up, y'all. She might have been kidnapped. That's what the people are saying. There we go. Okay. Are you really not going to let me get to my screen? Hold up, y'all. What is going on? Has my thing been invaded or what? Okay. Let me see if I can get right to my tab. It's not letting me. What the hell? Can I get through here? Why is the mouse acting up? Give me 1 sec, guys. I don't know what's going on. New tab. Okay. Instagram main. Am I out? It's the DA's fault? Probably. I see you guys in the chat because I got the other screen open, but I don't know what's going on my thing. It's literally not letting me click on anything. What is going on? Am I gonna have to restart? I might have to restart this. What's going on? Yeah, I can't even move my screen or nothing. What is going on? Yo, my computer is flipping out. Hold up, y'all. It's literally going crazy. Osa has invaded Rabbit. It's not letting me click on the computer whatsoever. I don't get it. Like, all right, let me do this. I'm going to try to reload. I'm going to try to hang tight, and I'm going to try to like come back in and out somehow. Maybe if I'm going to force quit and I'll be right back. Okay, can you guys see me? Let me know. It literally started acting up. It was something really weird and it wouldn't let me go through screen, so I had to stop for a minute. I do apologize. Hey, shout out to y'all, really waited. Thank you for being here. I'm telling you, maybe it was the DA. The DA got mad at me for reporting on this. Maybe that's what happened. Just me. Thank you for becoming a member. Shout out to you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I've been invaded. I had the same problem, and it turns out my control key was stuck. You have two control keys on the keyboard. Try both. I think you might be right. I'll check it. Shelly Kelly, thank you so much for the $5. I might have to check that out because I've never had that before happen, but that's interesting. I'm back. All right. So we were talking about moving on, and luckily all my tabs are saved. So thank God. Thank God. Continue. I think there was something going on with the keyboard. Press the key immediately to the right. Oh, and then there we go. The keyboard disconnected too. That's weird. That is so weird that happened. Okay, I'm back. So, and we've been live for a minute. So we were talking about the student that went missing, right? And so I guess that there's somebody saying that they saw her get kidnapped. And even though authorities in DR are saying that, well, she might have been, brushed up by the shore and taken away, which could have happened. I don't know. I wasn't there, right? But there are witnesses who have said that she was kidnapped. So I want to, I hope they keep investigating this because honestly, we don't know. And there are various articles. And like I said, when it comes to stories like this, especially international stories, you have to be understanding that you're not going to get your straight source from like a TMZ. You really have to go local. And even going local, you have to understand that they might also be bought and they could change their story. Rabbit, that's at least a third or fourth different story that came out on this. That's what I'm saying. It's like you just don't know what is the truth. So I guess there was a local who said that they literally saw her get kidnapped. We're going to keep reporting on this. I'm going to try maybe to do shorter videos. I still have a Liam Payne video that I have to work on, but I'm going to tell you guys something. When it comes to Liam Payne, I am collecting the different personalities that have been speaking on this, and it's just so, it just makes me so mad when I think of it. Honestly. Witnesses say she was kidnapped, and that's kind of important. Absolutely. We can't just say she was brushed off, by or she was taken by a wave if there's people that saw her kidnapped. So that's just my stance on that. And by the way, if I miss it, Dee, you guys, today is her birthday. Make sure you guys drop some hearts for our supporter, Dee, some cakes and everything. Listen, I was saying happy birthday while the DA was talking. And I mean, I don't know if we missed it because he was talking so much, but yeah, I'm just gonna say that. So which I mean is kidnapping is possible. I just find it weird that there's so many different stories already. Absolutely. There's a lot of different stories at this point. But I'm glad that the parents aren't just buying she was taken by a wave, because we don't know. And I also have a lot of questions about the people that are there. Somebody said, let me tell you what another person said, that from what I read, she went to the resort with her friends, went to a party, met a bunch of guys, which I think means boys, and they all went to the beach at 4 a.m. Then her female friend came back, and that was seen on the camera at about 4:50 a.m. She did not come back to the resort, but was at the beach with a young man. That does not make me feel good about the situation. I have a daughter a bit younger, and this situation would scare the hell out of me. So there's probably different stories that are happening about at this point. So we're going to review as many as we can, because the parents are still wanting to bring attention to this. Absolutely. Okay, let's move on. Let's see. Oh my God. Speaking of TMZ, I will say that this is probably good news. And I'm using TMZ because I haven't seen anybody break this down yet. So Wendy Williams' guardianship, the subject of 2 New York investigations. You know what? I'm going to give flowers to us YouTubers, all right? Us YouTubers, we deserve some flowers. I'm going to say that, okay? I'm going to say that. Because some of us, myself, BJ, a lot of other YouTubers, insert name in there, have been, I think Sloan was one of them, have been calling out the craziness as it pertains to this guardianship, right? The judges, the people involved, the little, that little court with the judge who then, she gets voted on, she gets these donations from these lawyers, and then these lawyers get, all the payouts. I did a video about that. Other YouTubers did videos about that. Insert the names, because I mean, there's a bunch of them. Tasha K too. Tasha K deserves flowers. There was a bunch of YouTubers that exposed this too, that we said, Sabrina Morsi and the judge, Sabrina Morsi and other lawyers, it's just very sketch that they get assigned all of these, what's the word? Incapacitated cases. The man that was, we did a whole video on, where he had been advocating for like 2 or 3 years, saying that I'm not incapacitated. He got a settlement for like over $1 million plus. And in that 10 years, Sabrina Morsi and lawyers and judges were taking all of those lawyer fees from that settlement from his work injury. And literally, okay, thank you. And Chronicle Speaks. Thank you. I appreciate it. Everybody has been calling it out. I'm just saying, like, did that lead to an investigation? Did they say, well, maybe these YouTubers aren't as crazy as they look. Maybe we do need to look into this. Or maybe it was the social media push. I don't know. Maybe it was the Jason Lees too. A bunch of things. It was all weird. All of it. And they need to crack down on all of that. And people don't, because, like, how? Where do you start? How do you start this? So Wendy Williams and 2 New York City agencies launch probe into guardianship. Interesting. So the New York authorities have launched 2 separate investigations into the circumstances surrounding Wendy Williams' guardianship, TMZ has learned. Sources connected to Wendy tell TMZ Wendy just interviewed with an adult protective services. Good, and I'm glad, which also has made phone calls to people close to Wendy, asking about her living conditions in New York City, the New York Assisted Living Facility. So I would think that the APS would have been involved way before all of this. Like a long, long time. But I don't know. Like, honestly, yes, I did mention BJ. I don't know. Like, I can't. Mims, of course. Somebody dropped the ball here, right? So say that she takes an evaluation, whatever that evaluation is, and they find out that this woman really isn't incapacitated. Okay? Then what? Then what? She would have been abused by the system that was set to quote unquote protect her, right? Her and her assets. Right? And TMZ, like I said, is shit because they're the ones that have all this news, all of these things. And it's interesting. I don't know. Like, I don't know. TMZ and with the ulterior motive sometimes is just so weird to me. But apparently numerous people connected to Wendy says she has no memory problems and therefore keeps in that memory unit is inhumane. So I mean, they need to look into everything in this. They need to look into all the lawyers. They need to look at the judges. They need to look at all these people and the people making recommendations left to right and all of that. Oh, yes, he is. Very much so. I hope this leads to, like, I don't know, in my opinion, a bigger, thorough review of all of this. You know, it needs to. And other people, not just Wendy Williams, because there's been a lot of other people that have been affected by these kind of lawyers, these judges, and stuff like that. That just make decisions that align with their pockets. It was purposely orchestrated by her previous financial advisor. Wasn't it Wells Fargo? Yeah, she set her up. In my opinion, Wells Fargo is who they use for their representative. Wells Fargo is trash, guys. I'm telling you, Wells Fargo is trash. I've told you guys that was a lender that my family used to use many years ago, and they were horrible. They used to, when I had a bank account with them, I've closed it. It's been like over 10 or 15 years I closed that bank account. I used to have a bank account with them. You know, they used to like run credit checks all the time, like without even your knowledge. So like, I would get like these credit pulls, and I'm not talking about like a soft, I'm talking about hard pulls on your credit report out of nowhere. Out of what? And then I found out that there was an employee on that bank that every time, this is what they would do when you want to open a credit card. If you just say, yeah, I want to open a credit card or whatever, which I never agreed to, they will pull your credit report. And every time they pull that credit report, they would get incentivized. So they'd get like $100 or $10 or whatever. So many. So yeah, check if you are banking with them. Please be careful. Check your credit reports when it comes to Wells Fargo, because they do like employee contests and then they would pull your shit. And I never agree. I think they pulled it like 3 times without my consent. And I found out when one day, you know, and I'm in my 20s, like I don't even know, you know, I'm learning about credit reports and stuff like that. Yes, they did. They had a class action lawsuit. Then I found out about that too. It was horrible. So please be careful with Wells Fargo. I'm at a credit union now, but even then, you know, just check on these banks because they don't give a fuck about us. They really don't care. They don't care about any of it. They just care about the money. That's it. That's it. Really, I've had you've had for 20 years and I've never had a problem with them. Maybe it's just that specific branch. I don't know. credit unions are okay. I've never had I've had this credit union for, again, several years now, but just be careful with them. I mean, they're not good. Don't hire them. Don't do that. And they'll do way too much. Yes, they do, Jay. Yeah, they do. They're trash. They're trash. All of these bigger institutions. What I don't like about my credit union is that it's so local. Like, I like being able to drive up to the bank and not do the small talk. I have to walk into this bank. So, and if I want to go like pull money out, there's another branch that has the drive-throughs. I can't do small talk. That's one thing I don't like. The credit union that I have, they do a lot of small talk. Shout out to them, but they be talking too much. Bank of America. You've never had problems with them? I don't know, man. Just be careful. That's all. You love your credit union? I just don't like how they small talk. That's it. I just don't do small talk. They want to talk about everything, and I'm like, can I just get the money that I need? That's it. That's all. Moving on. Okay. Let's talk about another topic, which I think we've gone. Okay, we're gonna talk about, Lord have mercy, this other topic. Shout out to, oh my God, if you guys have not watched this video, and I need to tag Danny Robertson to this video, okay? Danny Robertson did a like pre-recorded, edited video. I recommend everybody watch this video. Make sure y'all hit the like button. I need to share this. So apparently, the lady who saved the people from the Epstein Island, she saved those 3 victims in a boat. She's backpedaling. Okay, does she know? Ask her if she knows Diddy anymore. I don't know. Now that she has been found out, like this lawsuit got her a little bit scared, right? Nobody wants to be mentioned in lawsuits. This is a civil lawsuit, which, by the way, civil lawsuits could definitely have a thing where they can do different things to them. I don't know. Maybe they investigate a little bit and go criminal. I think that now she's back. She's like, no, I don't know. Was it AI? I don't know. Did she swim there?
Welcome back to the Avenger channel, where we don't just talk about the truth. We let the receipts speak for themselves. Today, we are diving into Jaguar Wright's own words. I know I discussed it in my last video, but I wanted to make a short video as well for the people that like, shorter content.
Yep.
So we're going to dive into Jag's years of wild claims about Sean Diddy Combs. She swore she attended his infamous parties, was caught on a Diddy tape, filmed free golfs with hidden cameras, pimped both men and women, and trafficked people in the industry. She even claimed to have Diddy tapes as proof of everything she said. Since
she did. She said it in Piers Morgan. Belen's like, hey, Kraken. Belen's like, oh, no, Rabbit. No, I just can't. I can't. Listen, I'm going to bring my male voice to this. Is Tinkle Tits in the chat? I was hoping
that Tinkle Tits was in the chat, because I wanted to see if Tinkle Tits thought that if I sounded good with my male voice. I need to know, how do I sound? Let me know. Shout out to Tinkle Tits. She lied. What do you think? She lied.
2005. But child, now that Ashley Parham has hit her with that frivolous lawsuit, backed by attorney Ariel Mid, is backpedaling, child. Her back is going backwards, child. That bike is pedaling backwards. The lawsuit itself is frivolous, but she's still worried. And her response, a full-blown narcissist.
Oh my God. Hold on. She said her back is going backwards. Oh my God, Danny is fucking hilarious. I love Danny. Y'all don't even know how much I love Danny.
Narcissistic rage. When I said she blew a head gasket, she blew a freaking head gasket. So anyways, instead of taking my word for it, let's roll the clips. Hear Jaguar Wright in her own voice making these explosive claims, and then listen to how she's suddenly trying to walk it all back. now that real legal consequences are on the table. I mean, you know, that she's facing a lawsuit, but frivolous or not, it's still a lawsuit. Okay, so and it's causing her to worry. So let's go ahead and get started. First, we're going to, you know, roll the clips of everything she was saying about Diddy before the lawsuit was filed. The amended lawsuit was filed on March 7th, 2025. Yep. And now, at the very end, we're going to roll the clips or some audio of her backpedal hearing about the lawsuit. Okay. Overnight after, you know, it was posted, like going into March 8th, she went into a new, she went into grade.
Okay, she's skipping. I don't know if it's just me, but let me go ahead and fast forward a little bit, okay?
I got a stack of NDAs at the top of every week and $5,000 in cash. And this is back in the 90s. $5,000 was a little bit of money, but it wasn't a lot of money. I got a stack of NDAs.
This is her words. I remember watching some of these videos, okay? A stack of NDAs. This is all her, okay?
And $5,000. And they told me whatever I didn't pay out, I could keep. The first time I seen a girl take $200 after 15 dudes and ran through her after they drugged her, and she had no idea. She didn't even know that she screamed most of the time. That's how insanely drunk and intoxicated and drugged she was. She didn't even realize she had been. All she kept saying is, "Do you know where I can get a hot cup of tea? My throat is so hoarse." And she took the $200 and signed a non-disclosure agreement for that kind of abuse.
You know what is so dangerous is that if you have listened to many hours of this kind of footage, you start realizing how she adds a lot of details to specific events. And it's one of those things where it's like, if she's able to lie about things like that, what does that say about everything else, right? And also being able to put crimes on people, that shit is dangerous, guys. She is literally a dangerous liar because she has lied on so many people and hurt a lot of people in the process too, by the way.
Now, when I quit, it was when the white girl came to me to negotiate. And I said, how about we start with $500? She said, how about I know they give you at least $5,000 for this? Tell them they're going to have to come to the table with more money if they want me to sign off on this paper. The white girl, turned out she was pre-law. She was in college studying pre-law. She knew all about it.
Yeah, good point. Like, she's saying that she used to be a pimp and that she has like a stack of NDAs at the beginning of like every week or so. Like, what pimp? Like, you good point. What pimp like has all people signing these NDAs?
Exactly.
Now, I have heard of such things, like I guess when people have like are wealthy and things like that. So, but not like some like regular like pimp that she's describing. Yeah. So, $60 says, happy 5th month anniversary to you. I appreciate the support. Says the facts and only the facts reside here. Yes, only the facts. So let's get back to the video. Hold on.
And she walked away with $25,000 that night. And guess what? Of all of the women that I paid off while I worked for this particular group, she got the most money. Mm-hmm. And it was the black girls that accepted the least amount of money. I actually ran out of cash one time and I couldn't find anybody with petty cash to go get more money to pay off more girls. And those girls accepted backstage passes at the next concert instead.
So she said that at one time she ran out of money to pay the girls and they accepted backstage passes. Something tells me that, you know, people actually would want their money and not just want backstage passes to a concert. And for me to see you say she's lying now, it's a white girl that was smart enough to know she was a pimp back with at least $5,000 to pay her off. I can't, and I won't tolerate such foolery. Of course, and then you get into it where, you know, all the black women were stupid and they didn't know their words. Yep. They were just like unintelligent, but it just so happened to be a white woman that she knew her words. She was smart enough to figure things out, you know. Parties was involved in his so-called freak-offs and even had hidden camera footage. She has claimed to have Diddy tapes, to have been a sex worker supplier, and to have sent sex workers to Diddy.
She claimed this on Piers Morgan, okay? So now she's being mentioned in this lawsuit that gives her that title, rightfully, right? If that is what she's doing. Do I believe everything that the lawsuit says? Probably not. But now she's going to have to put up or shut up, right?
Now that she is being sued, however, she suddenly, you know, said she has no connection to Diddy and that the lawsuit is false. So which is it? She spent years inserting herself into these narratives. Why backpedal now? Why, Jag? Why?
Why?
People keep forgetting I was a dominatrix. People keep forgetting I'm a sex worker.
People keep forgetting. I had my own book. I just wasn't trying to Heidi Fleiss it. I was an artist. I had a reason to be in certain places, which gave me the reason to keep people on my list. At my table. For a 17-foot TV system that costs $150,000.
You know what I was going to ask you, Jag? How the hell do you know all this stuff? Is that how?
Really expensive things we know that are
Let me show you a little something that I don't show most people.
Consider dropping the bottom amount from 20,000 each count.
Lovely timepiece, isn't it?
Has been charged.
Yeah, lovely.
Hold on, let's get in on that.
I'm trying to hold on, let me remember how to do this. I'm gonna zoom in. So hold on.
There you go.
There you go.
You don't see me wear it often.
Right.
If you see me wearing this, though, you should be wearing it.
So because it has a camera, guys. Because it has a camera. That's what she's. Okay. She tells so many lies. I'm surprised she remembers anything she says. And that's the thing, is that I don't know if she does. Don't forget the Jay-Z lie she told. She said that Jay-Z had, art her and there was all this stuff. And then she didn't want to get in trouble. So what happens? Guys, it was AI. She even had a creator put that out there, which I think she's fallen out with that creator since. That was happening. It's all AI. It's all AI. No. She's willing to put these kinds of lies out there. Just imagine how many innocent people she's lied on to. It has to be a lot of people. Just saying.
Pay attention to what she says about the watch. If you see me wearing it, you should be worried?
Can you speak about the significance behind that watch? You can.
That's not a watch. That's a camera.
So she said it's not a watch. It's actually a camera.
Yeah.
The question is, how many of those cameras do I have?
Here she goes. How many does she have? Do tell us. Please tell us. How many cameras do you have? Again, Jack has spent years running her mouth about Diddy, claiming she was at his parties, had Diddy tapes, tracked people, and even filmed these freak-offs with hidden cameras. So I guess she's trying to insinuate or imply that the hidden cameras are in watches. Man, when did that technology actually come out or exist to have hidden cameras inside of a watch? Yeah, but she has been calling herself a whistleblower and insider in the industry's truth teller, and has not really ever posted one receipt
Never.
of any connection, association, or any link towards or with Diddy.
What receipts? I have to ask. She was on Sean Atwood. She was on various platforms. What receipt did she provide, guys? Other than, well, she talked about Diddy getting arrested and no, she exposed Diddy back in the day. No, people have been exposing Diddy for years and years. Stop.
And how many different variations do I have now? You want to know what's awesome about technology? Little hidden cameras like that. I'm going to be able to rig them up so I can go live.
During a news conference, Langton's attorney accused Haley
This
of
is all
I'm
an
a
act.
whole spy.
of sexual assault. April Lampo says 30 years ago.
I hear something playing talking about Diddy now in the background.
So, of course, in the background, she's playing some Diddy audio. She's claiming to be a spy, getting into her whole role of I'm a spy. I go into these Diddy parties and things like that. I record, I have freak off tapes. I have Diddy tapes. And, of course, now that she's being sued by Ashley Priam, now as she's moonwalking and electric sliding and cha-cha now y'all in and stuff like that.
I can't. Why does Danny have to zoom in like that? Danny zoomed all the way in.
Trying to, moonwalk and walk backwards on us, child. Girl, Jay, you have been asking for, if I'm lying, just sue me. You've been saying that for years. What happened? What had happened?
Yeah, it's just Diddy everywhere, my bad. Diddy, you can't get away. No Diddy.
That's funny.
When you
hold on a second, yeah. So we're gonna get into some more clips as well. But like I said, she swore up and down. She had these Diddy tapes, but now she's acting like she doesn't even know what a VHS is. Yeah.
She doesn't know what a tape is.
Okay, Jag. So yeah, I don't think that Jag would have ever backpedal if it were not for this lawsuit. So even though the lawsuit is frivolous, it still has led to Jag backpedaling on her Diddy allegations and claiming to be a Diddy whistleblower. Because to be a whistleblower, you have to be an insider, and if she has no connection.
See, but here's the thing: when did they start doing the camera watches? I mean, I've heard of them. I just don't think she's one to. I don't know. She says she's got footage. Okay, well now she's being sued. Let her put that up. I'm not buying it at all. She's never provided one receipt of anything. Nothing.
Or affiliation, association with Diddy, or anything closely related to him at all in any capacity in proximity to Diddy, then she's not a real Diddy whistleblower, and her Wikipedia needs to be edited. Yeah.
See that video drop of him beating up Cassie. What was your first thought? Like, what do you think? Like,
I
damn,
triggered.
there you go.
I was triggered instantly.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
Because I remember when that happened to me. Running out of that hotel room with a sheet. And he came out. And he grabbed me by my hair and he dragged me back. And he just hit the shit out of me until I stopped fighting. And then he had his way.
Ooh. Was it somebody in the industry?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's your voices.
The media side wants me to ask who, but then the brotherly side wants you to keep that private. So if you want to disclose it, you can, but if not, we definitely respect that too.
I'm a pay.
She did that. She did that when she looked at the camera and talked about Jay-Z violating her on the Storm and Road channel. She looked at the camera, her voice changed, inflection was, Essie Berry was on that panel, remember that? And then when she got called out for that, immediately she said that was AI, and I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it.
Pay my debt, and I'm going to collect what's owed to me in my own way. Y'all don't want nothing to do with that. Trust me. You don't want me to say that.
Ooh, yeah.
Not today.
Respect. Yeah. So let's talk. I seen a video.
What I will say is that Sean Carter is vicious and violent, and what he don't do with his own hands, he will pay others to do. And he films it all and he watches it. Like I said, there's another tape of me out there. I just don't know where it's going to pop up.
So there's a video circulating out there. I seen it today actually. What you speaking?
I'm on a Diddy tape.
There you go.
I'm on a Diddy tape.
Which one?
Which one? She just randomly said, I'm on a Diddy tape. Which one? Oh, man. I can't, man. She said, I'm on a Diddy tape.
Person I was just speaking of. I was there with him.
Oh, man.
Jay-Z.
So she says, I'm on a Diddy tape until she wasn't. She literally said on multiple platforms, I'm on a Diddy tape. She also claimed there's another tape of me out there that might surface one day. Now that the lawsuit is, out here and she's being sued, she's saying, I have no connection to Diddy. Child, again, she's moonwalking, y'all. She's walking backwards, okay? You can't be on a Diddy tape one day and then never met him the next. Is she saying she deep faked herself, or did she just deep fake this whole whistleblower career?
Oh my God.
So your whole whistleblower career is just fake and a fraud, okay? At this point. So let's get into the next clip.
Where the fuck you go when you get over by the industry? Nowhere. That's where you go, nowhere. Which is where people like me step in. You right? I go to Diddy parties to walk mother out, because ain't nobody stopping me when I come.
Oh my.
Here she goes again with alleging that she went to Diddy parties, okay? Parties as in
all an act, guys. This is, you said personality number 3837. Lord have mercy, stop. Oh man. Oh man. Oh man. Oh man. You can't make this up.
in plural. Nobody brought Jag into this lawsuit. She got herself here. Yep. The lawsuit is frivolous, but the fact that her own lies were used against her shows she spent too long running her mouth.
Too long.
If she had never inserted herself into the conversation, she would not be in this mess. So, she pulled a magic trick, I guess. Like one day she's saying all these Diddy allegations, and then the next day, poof, be gone. It disappears. As soon as that lawsuit showed up, poof, be gone. If she was a real whistleblower, a real one, whistleblower, she would stand on her words, not erase them the second she faces real accountability. If she did not want this label, maybe she should not have tried to build a career off fake allegations. I'm just saying. How can you say you have no connection to Diddy when you went to Diddy parties and you have Diddy tapes and you have Diddy freak out tapes and you're on a Diddy tape? Yeah, that shows a lot of connections to me. But we're gonna get into her new thing of, she's
Hey, Diamond Rainbow, you're right, Kim. To be fair, she says she wanted him to sue her. So you get what you asked for, right? Like that's what you get. I can't with Danny because Danny literally stopped right here on this. I think Danny does thumbs. Danny does the most. She stopped it right here,
She's backpedaling now that she's scared. Again, we're watching the old clips and then we're going to go to the present day.
You talk about a lot of people in the industry, but what's some things that you can be real about yourself? Like, what are some of the things that you have actually done?
I was a pimp.
Who was you pimping?
Girls, sometimes boys.
So right here, Jag calls herself a pimp.
Mm-hmm.
She called herself a pimp and admitted to pimping both men and women. And soon you'll hear that she claims to have hidden cameras on herself and also on sex workers. So on this clip, she will say, she had hidden cameras like on her own person. Wow. And then on the Piers Morgan show, she claims that she sent sex workers in and they had hidden cameras. And in both videos, she claims to have these tapes.
They worked for me.
So that's why you was able to be in these rooms and see the things that you seen?
I was in those rooms even when I wasn't physically in those rooms because I had hidden cameras on all of my workers. I keep
Jaguar, the hidden cameras, that's way back in the day.
Workers. Yeah, who do you think I am?
You Jaguar Wright, baby. That's why I'm up here talking to you. I believe in a lot of stuff that you say. Sometimes I feel like
have been wearing body cams.
So pause right there. At first she says she sent sex workers in with their body cams. And then right there, she actually says, I have been wearing. So she says, addressing herself and talking about herself, that she has been wearing body cams. Let's go back one notch.
That's way back in the day.
Yeah, who do you think I am?
You Jaguar Wright, baby. That's why I'm up here talking to you. I believe in a lot of stuff that you say. Sometimes I feel like
I have been wearing body cams since 2005.
Oh my God.
I have been wearing body cams since 2005. So if you have been recording these freak off tapes, you have all these tapes since 2005, ma'am, why are you now acting like you have no involvement with Diddy? And you have went to so many of his parties, recorded so many of his freak offs. Freak offs are intimate settings, and it's not going to be, just anybody allowed in there. He obviously is going to be recording these sessions himself, and he's going to be there. So that implies, and that's obviously requires a connection and an invite from Diddy himself.
I had no choice. After I found out the truth about what happened to Aaliyah.
Here we go. Again, somebody called AAA because Jag's brakes are gone. She slammed that reverse gear so hard, she ended up back in 1999 before she even started line child.
Yep.
Okay, she did a reverse Uno and, reverse, cha-cha slide,
Well, see, who said that I'm going to use that footage for content? Maybe it's only evidence. Maybe some of those tapes have already made it to the DOJ.
Oh my God.
Maybe that gave the Homeland Security enough. Anonymous informants are very, very, very useful.
If she was never involved, why claim to have hidden camera footage of what went on in those parties or private rooms? You can't be the director, producer, and distributor of this footage and then suddenly say you were not even on the set.
I love when Danny says this right here. You cannot be the director, the distributor, the makeup person, the camera set, the action person. You can't be doing the lighting and then suddenly say it wasn't you. All of that.
How can you be filming something and not being on the set with Diddy? You can't be on a Diddy tape or in a Diddy tape or have Diddy tapes without being connected to Diddy, correct?
That's real. Now, can I ask you
I'm not going to say I'm a fed. And I'm not going to say I'm a snitch.
Just shit.
What I will say is, I talk to people in law enforcement.
Oh my God.
And a lot of times they listen. But they definitely listen when I let them talk to my witnesses.
How do you know as many of the things that you know? Like, what have you actually physically seen with your eyes? Like, that you can tell us? Because are the things that you're telling us things that you've seen or things that you've heard? Because I remember
you have to
something about Aaliyah and Jay-Z.
I was a sex worker when I got my record deal.
A sex worker when she got her record deal.
What the hell?
All I did was evolve that. I know the things that I know because I might not always be physically present, but I always have someone in the room.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
So you were a sex worker and you were not always there. You didn't say never there. You said not always there. Okay.
She was the Nightcrawler X-Men. She was everywhere. Rabbit, what are you talking about? She got a call from a special agent and a production crew. Listen, I don't even know.
So that implies that you're sometimes there, but not always there in those rooms, and you have people in the room. So that means that you actually send people there or have people there, and those people are working for you.
Sex workers are better than priests.
And the sex workers are better than priests. So you will send these sex workers who are better than priests to be your spies with cams, right?
They get better confessions.
Alrighty then. Well, look, you said something about.
For those who were never at these freak-off
Oh my
parties,
God.
what were they like?
Before we get into Piers Morgan, again, as you can see, Jag is always claiming to have sex workers in these rooms at these places or herself there with hidden cameras and having a bunch of Diddy tapes. Okay, so she's connecting herself to Diddy, connecting herself to doing dirty deeds with Diddy, having freak-off tapes. Now, keep in mind, what's in the actual freak-off tapes? What is in the actual freak-off tapes and what has been alleged to be there? And why has she held on to freak-off tapes allegedly since 2005? She's very complicit in the cover-up with Diddy, right? That's a co-conspirator and will make her a part of the cover-up if this were all true, correct? Jaguar claimed she was an industry insider, didn't claim she was just watching from the outside. She said she was in the rooms, then she wasn't in the rooms. Now she said she has no connection to Diddy at all. Yeah, Jag, you need to update your Google Maps because you just tried to drive away from accountability and you crashed into your own past statements.
Yep.
So she's either a liar, a fraud, or an unreliable witness, or all three. I go with all three. If we play all her statements back to back, it would sound like she is debating herself for real, for real.
For those who were never at these freak-off parties,
Now hold up. Why would you snitch on yourself like that? Think about it. This man is facing a whole, RICO federal case. Diddy is. Why would you snitch on yourself like that? Think about it on the internet. Okay?
what were they like?
See, this is the thing. Everything that I'm about to say to you is not my firsthand knowledge. It is my firsthand witness account experience. I was a sex worker. I was a dominatrix.
So she went from, a pimp to sex worker, dominatrix,
Before I got my record deal. That's how I know how the dark world and the sex world and the entertainment world run hand in hand.
So you'll have to be an insider to know all of that, right?
Right.
That's why the movie Blink Twice is so important. Salute to Zoe Kravitz. The sex workers that I have worked with throughout the years and
sex workers, the sex workers she has worked with throughout the years and continue to work with,
even to this day, have worn hidden cameras. I have my own tapes.
I have my own tape. She didn't say someone else has tapes. She says, I have my own. I have my own freak off tapes from these Diddy parties. She said this on Piers Morgan.
Now, none of those tapes, have they been mentioned in any of the criminal indictments or anything? Nope. Is she a party to the case? Nope. She's party to that civil lawsuit. She's getting sued on the civil lawsuit, but I'm talking about the criminal case. Nothing.
I have my own tapes from Diddy freakout parties. That was the question. What do you know about the freakout parties? She has her own freakout party tapes. How would she have access to that? She would send sex workers to Diddy's parties, and that's how she would get access to these tapes. That's what she's alleging. So that would make her a sex trafficker for Diddy, and she wonders why she ended up in this lawsuit. Jaguar Wright won a clout off of Diddy's name for years. She thought nobody would ever check her. Who gonna check my boy? Now that she's actually facing the consequences, she's scrambling to undo the damage. Jag spent years clout chasing off of Diddy's name, and now that the bill is due, she's acting like the waiter brought her the wrong check. Bitch, nah, that's your check, bitch. Pay it up. Pay it up. Nobody told you to get on here and lie through your crusty lips, okay? Again, if you were always telling the truth, you would not need to backpedal. See,
right?
You would just stand 10 toes down in it. This isn't about,
but it's always backpedaling all the time. It was AI. It wasn't me. I wasn't there. And now you have other channels that are saying, well, she was probably incarcerated around the time that they're mentioning this whole trafficking situation with the lawsuit and stuff like that. I'm like, why is everybody trying to fill in the blanks for her? We already know. Now if she's got the receipts, now she can show them. Right? Isn't that what we want? Don't we want the truth? Or is this about content? That's what I want to know. Don't we want the truth? Or is this about content?
Justice or victim. This is all about attention and financial gain and profit for yourself because Jag gets paid for interviews. In fact, she's trying to blackmail real life productions right now for more money. Like
the Blue Couch people,
they offer her $7,000, but she wants $28,000 instead, or $25,000. And now Jag is, drowning in the same lies she created. So that means she gets paid for interviews. So this is not all just about attention, which she does love. This is also about profit and making money off of interviews where she goes on people's platform, tells a bunch of lies, and then when she's about to get sued or she feels like she's in trouble, she makes up some sort of AI story or backpedals and recants or retracts or pretends like gaslights everybody. Now, she won't call it a retraction, but it actually is if you take back a statement. She just lies and tries to cover it up. But yeah, now Jag is drowning in the same lies she created. You need a life float. You need a float to stay above these lies.
Those who were never at these freak-off parties, what were they like?
See, this is the thing. Everything that I'm about to say to you is not my firsthand knowledge. It is my firsthand witness account experience.
There you go. All right.
I was a sex worker. I was a dominatrix before I got my record deal. That's how I know how the dark world and the sex world and the entertainment world run hand in hand. That's why the movie Blink Twice is so important. Salute to Zoe Kravitz. The sex workers that I have worked with throughout the years and continue to work with even to this day have worn hidden cameras. I have my own tapes. I've seen what they do. The ritualistic behaviors, the drugging, putting girls in the suitcases.
Now pick this, okay? Just watch this. She will never, when she's asked a question, she will never answer the question. She can't answer the question directly. She takes you to a different time of another place. Well, back in this, or she'll dance around it. She can never answer a direct question. That, my friends, is someone that lies for a fucking living. That is a con artist. That is a scam artist.
So before we get into, her new statements after the filing of the lawsuit or amended lawsuit on March 7th, and before we get into her statement she made overnight until going into March 8th, let's actually talk about freak off tapes and her stating that she has these tapes and what that means. A freak off tape is not just a bunch of celebrities having fun at a private party. These tapes are allegedly secret recordings of powerful industry figures engaging in illegal activity, including sexual exploitation, coercion, and assault. SA. If you claim to have freak-off tapes, you are claiming to have footage of people being violated, drugged, harmed, assaulted, often unknowingly or against their will. Because when you're drugged, incapacitated, drunk, etc., drugged, you cannot give consent. Okay.
Very simple. If you read the indictment, see how the lawyers, or excuse me, the DA or the city district New York person who's charging everything, right? Notice how they're defining the freak off tapes, because I think that's an important piece of this. They're using these freak off tapes as evidence. This isn't like, a bunch of people being invited to random parties. These are actual things that the attorneys are saying for the government that people have been violated through these acts, okay? So pay attention to how they're defining it versus how other people have described these tapes that aren't a part of those tapes, but just notice.
Okay, so that's unknowingly and against their will. These are not just wild party tapes. They are evidence of potential crimes. For Jag to say that she has had these tapes since 2005, that's very, very serious.
Yep.
Now, do I believe that Jag actually has these freak off tapes and she has done all of this? No, but it's also sick to actually pretend to be a victim or pretend to have these tapes and play around with serious issues.
And that's what she does. She is pretending. Okay? She's pretending. She will take somebody's story when she has talked about Cassie, when people ask about Cassie or Cassie happens to come up to the conversation, she takes from that and then evolves her own. She can never say, yeah, that's really horrible what Cassie went through. Well, I went through my own thing. I did this. Just notice how she talks. This, my friends, is nothing new. She did it back in 2020 when she first came out here on YouTube. Some of us that have been watching her that long kind of knew that she was just always a scam all the time.
It is. There are real victims out there that actually are in freak off tapes, that are actually SA victims and actually have been violated and are experiencing trauma and they have been victimized. And people like Jag, Misha, and others playing around with serious topics can impact or have an effect on real victims of SA and etc. So Jag was out here talking about these freak off tapes like it was a Real Housewives reunion special. No, sis, this ain't no Bravo TV.
Nope.
Okay. This is real life. Filming people without their knowledge or consent is illegal. If people were being drugged or coerced, as she stated in the Piers Morgan interview, it goes from illegal to criminally damning evidence of trafficking and assault. Why would any woman or any man or any person, for that matter, hold on to these tapes from 2005 all the way to the present and not turn this in to law enforcement to actually help victims if that's what they state they are doing, victim advocacy and to protect the victims? No, that sounds like you are protecting Diddy. Yeah, not victims. If Jaguar really had these tapes, she would not be a whistleblower. She'd be an accessory to the very crime she claimed to be exposing. Whistleblowing.
Thank you. Shout out to Danny Robertson. I love that she did this video because it's like putting in the facts, definitions. That's it. That's beautiful. I love it.
Would actually be telling on these people. An accessory is actually keeping the evidence to yourself, not swilling, not telling, not protecting the victims at all. In fact, in her pimp video, she actually said that she would cheat the actual sex workers out of money and give them like cheap tickets or cheap backstage passes instead of money. So she admitted to pimping people out and pretty much didn't show any remorse. If those tapes really existed, Jack would not be out here giving interviews. She'd be giving statements to the feds explaining why she sat on criminal evidence for years.
Exactly.
Like, let's be for real. Okay. At first, she claimed she had hidden.
She would be an accessory. She would be an accessory.
Camera footage. Then she said the sex workers she sent in were the ones filming. Then she claimed she personally wore a body cam since 2005 to catch people in the act. Now that she's being sued, suddenly none of that happened. If Jack had real undeniable proof of trafficking, coercion, or assault, why didn't she give it to law enforcement? Instead, she spent years running her mouth on YouTube, never once turning in any footage. You mean to tell me she sat on explosive, career-ending FBI-level evidence just to go on live and beg for cash apps, $1 per view, begging ass bitch? If people were really being trafficked and coerced, it's disgusting to pretend to have evidence just for attention. She wanted the clout of acting like she had the inside scoop, but now that the legal spotlight is on her, she's pretending none of this ever happened.
She's going to say AI. She's going to say it was AI. It was all AI. AI did it. Anyways, shout out to Danny Robertson. You guys go check out her channel. Of course. Pika, if you could drop her channel in the chat, I would appreciate it. Thank you so much, love. I have to let you guys go because I have been on for too long. It was a long live because we were reviewing the talking attorney and then we kind of got into things and whatever, but y'all are amazing. Thank you for watching. I'll be live later tonight, hopefully. We'll see. I'm tired though. I need a little break, but let me know what you guys think. And oh my god, Mirrored Moon, thank you so much for the Venmo. I just got the notification. Thank you, love. I appreciate it. Thank you. I will see you guys on the next one. Hit the like button and shout out to everybody that supported today. Janet, the Duck, it's me, Shelly Kelly. Y'all are amazing. I will see you guys on the next one. Hit the like. Bye, guys. Bye.